We've got some jumper cables, and then we also got this battery charger. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Zach, and we like to talk about overlanding and tech here. And today we're really just going to kind of dive into some battery issues that I've had, and some of the products I've bought to fix the battery issues with my Outback, and then some of the products and kind of my approach for solving the issue that I had with the 4Runner battery. So, with that being said, we're first going to kind of just talk about those products, and then later on I'm going to sort of tell the story and explain how I troubleshooted the 4Runner battery. So if this is helpful to you or you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing and like down below to help my channel in the algorithm. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not really loyal to any particular brand. I typically am just loyal to what reviews say, and I'm not really, always buying everything from, let's say, NAPA or O'Reilly or Lowe's or some sort of store. Not really loyal to those either. I just try to find good products that have good reviews that are a good price. So I've been having a lot of battery issues this winter. I had a problem with the 4Runner's battery, and now the Outback's battery is completely dead, and so I've got to figure out how to solve that too. And so I picked up some new jumper cables because I needed some, and I opted for the 20-foot length because the longer the better. No matter where your car's sitting, it's going to be helpful if you have more length. If you for some reason are in a packed parking lot or something, maybe those 4 feet are the difference. So most places I've seen, they sell a 16-foot or they sell a 20-foot, so I got the 20-foot. And it came in this little case here, but it kind of looks like a piece of junk. I don't know, though. Everything in this box from Amazon was super beat up, so maybe that's just what happened with these particular packages, but I'll probably just put this in my drawer in the platform. That'd be a good place to store it. Other than that, there's nothing super fancy to talk about here. They're just a good set of jumper cables. They had really high reviews on Amazon, so I figured I'd buy them, let you guys know that I got them, and they're the ones that I'll be running. And then I don't have a garage battery charger, but I decided that's probably a good thing to have. And so I got this one because it can charge different types of batteries, like deep cycle, gel, AGM batteries, lead acid batteries. And then it also has a bunch of different modes. It has like a 100 amp engine starting mode. It has just like a normal 30 amp like boost charging. And then it's also got like 6 to 25 amp trickle charging. And so it just seemed like it had a wide variety of modes. It had really good reviews online. I saw an article where they talked about it and said it was the best charger to have in your garage. So I figured I'd pick one up and just see how it worked. And so I'm just going to quick unbox it, and then I'm going to use it on the car, which I think has close to a dead battery since it's negative degrees Fahrenheit here in Minnesota, and we'll just see how it works. So it's also got a bunch of different like LED markers, that sort of thing. So let's unbox this. Also just note, yeah, this box is trashed. Like I don't really know why it's so destroyed. While we're unboxing this, I just wanted to mention that I already have used this, and it seemed to charge up the car just fine, and kind of to be expected. But one thing I will mention is I read online that they recommend you plug this into your battery before plugging it into the wall and turning it on and that sort of thing, because it can prevent sparks that way. So that's what I did. I just clamped those 2 little alligator clips onto the battery, then plugged it in, and turned it on to the boost charge mode since my battery had been pretty dead and I wasn't trying to jump start the car. However, trickle charging is typically just used to maintain the battery's charge, especially in really cold temperatures like right now in Minnesota. You can just use the trickle charge during the night to make sure your battery stays topped off when you're not driving your vehicle. And then, if we look at the front here, this is where I was talking about how we've got like a standard lead acid battery, an AGM battery, gel battery, or they even have a bad battery, LED marker here. And then they also have a warning light if you've got the clamps put on wrong. 100 amp engine start mode, 30 amp boost mode, and then the 6 to 2 amp charge mode. So it looks like you can just click these buttons depending upon what you want to select. And then up here we've got some various feedback lights, like a charging light, a charged or just maintaining the charge light. So this is for like trickling or once you're fully charged. And then a voltage and percentage light over there. So I believe basically these lights probably alternate depending upon whether this is reading voltage or whether this is reading like a percent of battery charged. So that's pretty awesome. Other than that, nothing too crazy. It's got a fan on the back, got some model numbers, that sort of thing. So I'm looking at my battery on my Toyota 4Runner. It's a 2015, and I'm just trying to understand why it hasn't been working super well. So there's multiple things you can do to try and diagnose a battery, and these are kind of the main things I checked. But what I first did is I just removed these two contacts right here and right here and cleaned off the contacts in there. But as you can see, and since it's a 2015, it's still quite clean. The next thing I did is I unscrewed right here and I unscrewed right here, and I cleaned where these like metal panels kind of connect to try and make sure that was good. So first I tested those two things, and with no luck the car still wouldn't start very well. The next thing I did is I unscrewed right here and right here. This is the anchor bar that basically holds your battery in place when you go down the road. I took that off. I took off these contacts and I looked at the battery. Now one thing I will mention is, since this seems to still be the original battery with the vehicle, I couldn't find any sort of date around it. I searched through the forums, and a lot of places mentioned that like this number here is just a battery model number, and there's some manufacturing numbers on the bottom, but I don't think that they tell you anything about the date of the battery. So that being said, I didn't really know exactly when it was made. A lot of people generalize, you know, a battery lasts around this long. What I did see in the forums is some people were having really great success with these Panasonic batteries. So I was like, okay, well, I've tested all the contacts. It doesn't seem to improve it. Basically, what ended up happening is I was stranded in a parking lot, and my car would turn over once and then it would click, and it seemed to not gain any additional charge from being jumped. I later learned that testing with a second set of jumper cables, my jumper cables were bad, and so my car jumped fine, and I was able to start my vehicle. So that was great because I was able to make it home. But then what I wanted to do next was figure out, okay, so why am I having these issues with the vehicle starting? So then I thought, well, maybe there's an issue with these grill lights and they're drawing on my battery weird when it's parked. That may be the case, however, typically that shouldn't really impact how your vehicle starts. So then what I did is I decided to go to NAPA and just do a battery life test to figure out if this thing wasn't performing correctly. And so the battery was reading roughly 288 cold cranking amps, but the battery is rated at 530 cold cranking amps. So this is showing that, yeah, right now when we've got snow, it's not really performing correctly in the winter. And so I'm back from NAPA, and buying a new battery was a super easy experience. Obviously most of you have bought new batteries, but basically what ended up happening is, since my old battery had roughly 285 cold cranking amps, and I intend on adding a winch to my vehicle in the future, I decided to kind of go a little bit nicer than average and get a battery that I believe has around 850 cold cranking amps. I just didn't want to have any issues running a winch, and so I got a battery that I think will work great in the winter and work well with my winch. So NAPA really has a great product, and I've had good luck with their batteries in the past. My family's always used them. And additionally to this, typically they're running like a $20 to $30 rebate. So, if you bring in your old battery and you buy this one, they'll typically also give you a rebate. So maybe it'll save you a little money there. So that's what I would recommend. And, this was kind of a bizarre situation, but I could kind of sense that the battery was going, since when you crank over the car, it'll almost immediately start up on this brand new battery. My old one, typically had these longer sort of drawn out cranks, which I think is a good sign that you're probably, starting to drain those cold cranking amps. But just so that you guys are all kind of aware of my situation and what happened, and maybe this will help some of you who are trying to find information online and can't find anything having to do with the stock batteries and how to
go about picking a new one. I will mention that this battery in my 2015 Toyota 4Runner is a size 24 battery, so if you're trying to find that also somewhere in the forums, there it is. So thanks for watching. I hope this little story about my battery issue is helpful to you, or at least in the future, if you somehow run into this situation, you can think back and remember my little story, and maybe it'll help you solve it quicker. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.